Hello, and I am excited to dive into this February journal spread with you. Not necessarily because it was the easiest spread I've ever made or because it's great. There are so many mistakes that you will see while I am making this. At one point, you will basically hear me have to self-regulate and talk myself down off a cliff with this thing, but because at the end of the day, when I look back at it, even with the mistakes and everything else, I actually think it is so nice. I'm still very proud of it. It is outside of my comfort zone. I incorporate a lot of elements in it that I don't usually do, like folding paper and a whole bunch of other stuff. But you'll see that in the spread. But all that to say, it was a difficult spread for me, but I absolutely love it. Even when it's imperfect, which I think is kind of perfect for February, because February is sometimes considered like the month of love or whatever, because of Valentine's Day in there as well, which, I mean, it's a Hallmark holiday, but you know what I mean. So it's almost kind of fitting that I had a very difficult spread that I wanted to overly correct. Like, you could see me going over that line with that white pen so many times in this spread. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I love it even as it's imperfect. So as you can see here, I'm just setting up my February title page for the cover. So I opted to do a calendar over 2 pages, and then I purchased those little heart stickers from the store in Toronto, Paper Plus Cloth. I'll include information on them down below in the description, but I purchased those stickers from Paper Plus Cloth easily in like November, because sometimes when stickers go up there, they disappear really quickly. Like, people just buy them out, and when I saw them, I was like, you need to get them now so you can use this in a February spread in some way, shape, or form. So those have been sitting in my stash for a while now, and I am so excited that I was able to break them out and add them in because they look so good. And essentially you'll see me use them throughout as mainly for date headers, like Monday through Sunday, both in my content spread and everything else. So one of the elements that I actually thought would be the hardest for this spread, but actually turned out to be the easiest, was these envelopes. So you see a whole bunch of craft paper envelopes, and then that is just some pink cardstock paper there that I purchased at a nearby paper shop as well, that I cut out into these little like tabs. So what I'm creating there is like a letter inside of it and lightly scoring it so that it's easy to fold. And then I made 1,000,001 craft paper envelopes, and essentially those are going to go inside and be like a little pop-up detail for it as well. So spent lots of nights figuring out how exactly to do this, how to make it work perfectly, the sizes that I needed, where I needed to glue it in. But I am really happy that I pushed myself to try it, and then to go from there. And then, like I said, the envelopes were just basically like craft paper that I made. So I glued those little tabs in there, tucked it into the envelope, and then I essentially have like a pop-up, which is so great to see. And they can have little notes on them as well. I have had a lot of people subscribe, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for choosing to subscribe. And whether you are a new subscriber or someone who has been here from the start, I really appreciate all of you, and it means so much to me that you choose to follow along on my YouTube journey with my new channel, and kind of as I talk about books and beauty and bullet journaling and kind of everything between, and just life in general. It just means so much to me, and I'm so happy to have you here, whether you came from like one of the first videos that I posted about books, or Vlogmas, or most recently season 32 and my bullet journal spreads that I've started to share. Thank you so much. So after I completed that page, I moved on to a month at a glance page. So I did include one in my January setup, but for February, I felt like I needed a bit of a dashboard just because things are about to get a little bit hectic for me. I have a couple different events happening in February that I know of and everything else, and I just knew that I needed a dashboard there. And then kind of the first mistake that I found myself making was I miscounted for where I was highlighting for the dates. So that month was off, but I fixed it was white out and I thought we were good. So I made a simple little header there using that same lettering and my mild liner fuchsia pen, just writing month at a glance across the top and keeping it really simple. And one thing I like to do every once in a while in my journals is add a 3 things to do section. So that's just almost like a bucket list, but 3 really simple things that I want to do or accomplish that month. So Book of Mormon is currently playing in Toronto, so that's probably going to be one of them for me because it's on until February 11th. So I most likely will say see Book of Mormon, and I'm not quite sure what the other 2 are. It might be something that's just off of my regular winter bucket list, like get a bottle of wine from Henry's or walk along the waterfront, something really simple like that, but it's just kind of fun. And then I made another mistake there, but I think we managed to cover it up. I just drew that line too far, which seemed to be like a recurring theme in this journal. But that mini calendar that you're seeing there is actually a work tracker. So I have 4 different areas, I guess, that I'm kind of doing things for. There is my secret project, which is that LFE thing there. There is AA, which just stands for Adele Ashley, so the blog, Instagram, everything else, YouTube, and then other. So I just wanted somewhere that I could kind of track how I am working on those things throughout the months to see if there's something that I'm dedicating a lot of time to or something that I'm not spending any time on, that I maybe need to shift the priorities there. And then I just created a simple brain dump at the bottom. Okay, so we did it. I managed to do a full spread with like barely messing up. So fingers crossed this will be fine for the rest of the spread. I'm going to pick 4 colors. I'm just not sure what they are yet. For here, just to track all of them in my work tracker spread. And, you know, there was that moment I was worried when I drew that line too far, but we made it work. And we are going to say this is a spread that worked with minimal to no errors in it. So hopefully the rest of the pages are like that as well, because these first 2, killing me. Just, ready to tear the pages out entirely. But onwards we go. So for my habits page next, I'm just going to cut out some of those like mini calendars out of that cardstock in the pink and the red. Motherfucker. I messed up already. This is not my day. So I actually didn't realize while I was filming this, but I was watching Dear Evan Hansen while setting up my journal, and that song playing while I am having this meltdown is kind of like ironic to me. But essentially what I was trying to do was create those mini calendars and write it in. I took a deep breath and pivoted to just drawing the lines in so that I had a guide for where it had to fall. And then I was going to write the title across the top there above like the days of the week. And then this happened. I give up. This light pink is not going to be in this spread. We're going to pivot. We're going to take a breath. And we're going to come back. day. And I think that is so representative of what it is like setting up a bullet journal. Sometimes you could have the best of intentions and then just be having a bit of an off day. And I really was like, this week that I set this up was very, very rough for me, and I was thinking through a lot of things. And as trivial as it sounds, like I got bit by a dog and my jacket got destroyed, and it was a jacket that I love, and I'm so lucky that I have a jacket and that I could afford to buy a new one and everything else. But it just really threw me for the week because I specifically picked a color for my jacket, and now I have to settle for a black jacket. And I was considering buying a different jacket this year anyway, so it's like, do I replace my jacket or do I get the other jacket that I was getting because it was completely different? But all that to say, I had a lot on my mind while I was doing this spread, and just kind of subconsciously, I think it really kind of affected me, which is a lot of the mistakes that you see there. But I told myself, you're gonna do it, there might be mistakes, and that's okay, which I think is really just kind of an act of self-love in itself, like just acknowledging and moving on and taking that break when needed. So this is my habit spread. I ended up still incorporating that paper in there. I went for a walk and I thought that I could still include it just by using it as headers and writing the title on the top and then drawing out the days of the week and the calendar on there as well. And I did separate my habits into 2 sections. So this is also another spread that I actually don't use a lot in my journals, but every once in a while I feel the need for one. And the habits that I'm tracking are really just things that are kind of simple that I just need to do. So I am hoping to get up by 9 a.m. every day. I usually am up anyways, but I just don't get out of bed. So up by 9 a.m., I need to drink more water, make sure I do my skincare every single day, work out, and that's not a daily thing. That's just like a make sure that I work out. Bed by 1 a.m. And then I also want to make sure that I do a face mask, journal in my personal journal, and then also set up my bujo for each week, which is really just like a Sunday night thing for me. And then I have the spread that kicked off the envelope theme that I have going kind of across the entire month. So for the month of February, or I should say for the first 14 days of February, I am doing a 14 days of self-care challenge on Instagram, and I most likely will post them on shorts here as well, and maybe TikTok, we'll see. But essentially from February 1st through February 14th, I am going to be sharing one thing to do every single day for self-care, or an idea of a way that you can take care of yourself. So they're going to be quick and easy for the most part and be just kind of inspirational. I kind of am focused on both like spiritually, mentally, physically, physical wellness as well, like just kind of all aspects of self-care there. But I have kind of like an envelope theme going for it, which I loved, and the spread took me so long to plan out for how I was going to do it, but I'm so happy with how it came out kind of in general. So as you can see, I have one of those envelopes there that I kind of a big version of the craft paper envelope that I'm just leaving open, and I taped kind of like a letter sheet coming out of it that says 14 days of self-care, which really is just another smaller envelope. And then I have the mini envelopes that I put on either side of it. And then I also created 14 more of these, or 13 more, sorry, 13 and one big one, more of those little envelopes. And essentially I labeled all of them 1 to 14, added those stickers in again, and kind of I'm going to be pulling out card from each one. So for example, day 4 is going to have something written on it and an idea for self-care. As you can see, I did switch it around a little bit and ended up putting the stickers on top of the numbers and writing the numbers on there as well, instead of closing the flaps. And I just love how it looks in general. And then I got into my scheduled content and content to create setups. As usual, this is just a really simple one for me. I include a I just basically just wrote the titles in, and or like my headers for each section, and just created like those boxes and like check boxes and stuff for me to refer back to through the month. It is a fairly basic and empty spread, but it is one that I refer back to quite frequently during the month, especially as I am filling out my weeklies every Sunday. Just so I know kind of like if there's something that I need to create. And honestly, like this is a running tally list for me. There's things from January that I'm going to be transferring over into February that I didn't create. And mainly those are things that I know that I will be posting in like May even sometimes. So there's no rush for me to get it done right away, but it is good for me to refer to for times that I have a little bit extra time. I also have my coffee quote and soup Sunday there as well, just because even though those are static things that I post on Instagram every single Monday and Sunday, I know that if I didn't write it down and check off that I actually have it done, I might hit a Monday where I realize that I actually don't have a quote or a picture of coffee picked out for it. So I like to just kind of have it there just to refer to and see what is going on with my day and time in life. You know? But yeah, this is one of the more utilitarian spreads in my journal. I actually don't know if I'd ever really switch it up and make it a bit more complex. I think it really is just like it works. Why break something that works? And then the weekly spread. So I very briefly pulled out that piece of cardstock to see if I could write the month on it and just create like five little like month calendars for my weekly spread. And then I reminded myself of what type of day I was having and quickly opted not to do that and just write the days in. So pulled out those mild liners again and just used shades of pink for the header and then a different one for the week that we were in, just so I could track it. And for this one, I opted to do like a very small week overview underneath that. So those lines that you're seeing there are just for me to write in Monday through Friday for any appointments or things that I have. So if I am doing an interview, that goes there. I usually write like, I'm also taking a course right now, so my course goes there. Workouts that I book in advance, things like that, I will make sure that I like plot there just so at a glance I know what I have coming up for that week. And then on the other side there, that calendar is my content calendar one. So essentially, what am I posting on various days of the week, just so I know. And again, kept it very simple. I found that I did so much in the first half of my spread, like in the setup, but when it gets to weeklies, I love a simple weekly spread. Like it just needs to be functional. It needs to be something that I can easily fill out. I know where I like things to be. It just needs to be like easy, if that makes sense. I'll decorate it. Like I'll put all the stickers and maybe draw every once in a while on it, but I need to essentially have like a running task list, things that I want to create, a section for notes, and a section to look ahead for the next week. Just really basic. I have simple needs. So as you can see, I also started putting those stickers back in there and just use those as week headers for me. So I wrote the numbers for my week overview. I wrote the numbers in the heart and then just wrote the date of the week very small beside the heart. And then for my tracker, I just wrote Monday through Sunday on them as well. And then under the habits section, those habits that I am focusing on at the beginning of that habit spread that I had at the beginning, I translated it down into like a week by week one as well, just because the reality is, as much as I have that spread and want to fill it out every single day, I do know that there's a greater chance of me actually kind of very quickly coloring it in during the week, or day to day, I should say, as opposed to referring back to that page every single day. However, I can fill it out during the day, each day during the week, and then at the end of the week when I am transferring things over to the following week, just take a quick minute to just color it in the other spread as well for that full overview. And then just to add some color to the other page and balance it out a little bit, I added in my, use that highlighter to add next week as well. And then just essentially did the same thing for the rest of the spreads. I think I mentioned this before, but I actually like to set up my weeklies for the entire month in one go. Like that day that I sit down and plan out my spread and do my title pages, I will do all 5 weeks. I am not someone who can sit down and like do it every week. On busy weeks, I find that I just don't do it. So at least if I know that all the days are done, we're good. So that is essentially my February setup. As you can see here, just a really quick flip through for you guys so you can see it all kind of like in context together. It was a difficult spread. Like I said, like there's so many mistakes, but I actually really do like it. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. And follow along on Instagram and YouTube Shorts for my 14 days of self-care series. Each day I will be revealing what is in all of those envelopes there for you guys. I'm really excited to dive into that one shortly. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know if you are setting up your journal for February or anything that you are planning on doing in the month ahead, or even ideas for things that I can do. But until next time, have a great day.